Welcome to Quick and Dirty Review, Episode 3. I'm Joe.
I'm Faust.
And we're going to review Alien Covenant today. Yeah, tell me about it.
Can't believe you made me go see that movie.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I had successfully avoided seeing that movie with you. And then we decided to start doing a movie review show.
I know.
Now I had to go and see it. And so this is the first time I've gone to see a movie on my own in years.
And, we saw it separately, and you saw it today. I saw it I saw it on Saturday? I think it was Saturday.
It doesn't really matter. It was, for all, we've seen the movie. We're going to talk about the movie. It stinks.
Yeah,
I set out going to do movie reviews saying that I wasn't going to make a definitive statement of whether you should or should not go, but my personal opinion is it stinks.
Okay, that's still not telling people not to go. If you want to see a movie that stinks, that's totally your decision. There are lots of movies out there that people don't like. So the first thing I got to say is it left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
And so
definitely.
This movie starts out about 10 years after the Prometheus has gone poofity.
Yeah.
And it's a colony ship.
I've never seen Prometheus, so yeah, it was a colony ship that was on a mission towards a planet, and they end up pulling the crew out of their cryosleep thing, which has been established as part of the universe forever.
Right.
They pull them out the cryosleep early because of a unpredictable spatial event.
Yeah.
And damages the ship, and during the repairs, they happen to discover there's another planet perfectly suitable to their needs.
Except for, wait, why haven't they done it before?
Yeah. Like, why haven't they gone to that planet? Why didn't they hear about that planet?
They didn't review it or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
and so Daniels, the main character, the main focus of the story.
They
focus on everybody, but she gets the brunt of it.
And she was the captain's wife.
And he dies as part of, the waking up procedure.
James Franco.
Yeah. So James Franco's in it, but you get to hear him for all of, 5 seconds, and the only thing he does is
scream at the top of his lungs, like, ah!
Yeah. So there's that. You get to see James Franco burn to death.
Oh, you gave it away. All right, so here's the kick. So they start out this whole situation. They're reviewing the planet, and we totally won't hopefully give too much away with that. But
aliens show up.
Yeah.
Proto-aliens? Prometheus aliens.
No, you gotta stop.
Neomorphs?
Yeah, they're called neomorphs.
They're called neomorphs?
Right, so that when they land on this planet, they decide to start doing research, and you see all this stuff on planet. Now, let's just stop right there for a half a second.
Yeah.
The integration between the crew is really vital to me, and they
do need to have some sort of interaction, believable interaction with each other.
And so the previews show a human interaction between Daniels and T and the crew itself.
And all they really do in the movie is have this sort of juvenile high school locker room back and forth.
And they cut out 50% of the stuff that was in the previews.
Yeah.
The reason I thought the movie was going to be okay, and I didn't think it was going to be stellar to even start, but the reason I thought it was going to be okay is because if they could resurrect some of that feel from the original crew.
The Nostromo felt like a crew. I mean, they were working on that movie. And, the reason that they felt like a crew on the Nostromo is because the people working on that movie were a crew.
Right.
They came together really just because they all they had was each other where they were filming.
Right, and so that made sense. But there's a disconnect between the humanity of the characters, the interaction between each other. And like you said, it feels like a pissing contest from high school.
Yeah, essentially it's just this banter back and forth to be like, aha, we're all buddy drinking buddies, but... I don't know. Maybe that's just not how I operate with my neighbors, or
It would be like me shoehorning, to the audience, going, you know what? I'm so glad Faust brought us together. Shot.
Yeah.
And just you guys have no idea what we're talking about.
I didn't.
And so the essence of that ruined the setup for me. So it already came in jaded and bad start.
No, honestly, I have a lot of I have a lot of trouble being analytical about this movie because after about the first act, I was bored.
Yeah, and I totally can get that because
it's a really slow start, and then when it does get rolling, it's sort of just hitting the checklist, and even then, it's sort of just stumbling over the checks because they are neomorphs or whatever.
Right, and so you see it in the previews, how they even start the infection or how they even start to make neomorphs is they step on the weird black flowers that you saw from Prometheus.
Somebody steps on a spore.
Yeah, and so they get infected with the black stuff from the engineers. Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay, so that makes that. Now, here's the kick. That same specimen did not even do anywhere near close to that same issue in Prometheus.
Yeah.
So they're already breaking stride with that.
Yeah, and I will say this to its credit, some great effects happen with like the body horror. And
Oh yeah,
I think they did a lot of work with both practical and CG, but they made at least some proper use of practical effects.
I will. You know what? I could definitely tack this up to it being a CG fest, or just an effects fest. It doesn't have to even just be CG.
Yeah.
So
but really, really, real well done. Not just on the actual body horror effects, but on the overall, like the ships feel huge. And they feel like the industrial ships like you had with the first two Alien movies. The third one kind of lost it because they decided to go all rust and steampunk.
Yeah. Which
is, I think, a victim of the 90s. Everybody got brown vision.
So the kick from there is that different events happen, and we're not going to give that away.
Mm-hmm.
But there's only actually 2 xenomorphs in the entire movie.
Yeah. And this is supposed to be the big introduction to the xenomorphs, but I felt like they didn't really even give them enough weight. Like you had way more weight with the xenomorph on the original Alien, and even then, that was just them sort of like running around. There was a guy running around with tubes and plastic garbage bags, and it felt scarier than this Alien.
Yeah, well, and that Alien in the first movie was like, holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
And in this one, it's just like, there's a xenomorph, because we've seen that. So they tried to break that with the neomorphs, but they didn't do a very good job. So
I will say, the other thing that's going to be very obvious, pretty much even just before halfway through the movie, you're going to basically obviously know there's a twist coming. And it's just going to hit you in the face every single like plot point in the way. There's a twist is coming. And when the twist does happen, it's going to be worse than any other twist you can think of.
Well, not to mention,
I had so many better ideas in my head.
It's because it's not a twist. It's linear.
Yeah.
It's like
it's predictable.
It's totally predictable.
Yeah,
and you're sitting there going, so don't walk down that tube because that's going to have X. And don't do that because it's going to have this.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? They're probably doing that sneakily behind your back.
So I will give it another bit of a credit in saying that this movie actually has the distinction of having the dumbest person I have seen in a horror movie.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
But this guy just absolutely goes off the rails and completely forgets his entire character motivation. The person writing it kind of forgets the character's motivation here, which is protect the colony.
Right.
And get out of there. And he just ends up walking straight into danger. And I'm pretty sure the entire audience when this movie came out was probably going like, don't go in there.
Yeah.
Do not go in there. What are you doing? Don't go. And it wasn't one of those good ones where it's like very obviously they would. It's their breaking character to go in there.
Yeah, it's totally avoidable and there's no real reason to go do it except for a curiosity. Yeah. And his character does not show an ounce of real curiosity to start.
Yeah. And I think really what it is just a sort of, once you kept saying ham-handedness.
Oh, yeah, it's ham-handed.
It's a ham-handedness, just a means of like, we need to move the plot along. We need to have another death. Otherwise, people are going to stop paying attention. If you're saying that about a horror movie, I don't know if you're doing it right.
Well, it gives you the first xenomorph.
Yeah.
It's literally going, we need him to break character and break what's going on to make the first xenomorph.
Which means when the first xenomorph does show up, not only, I mean, it looks as imposing as any xenomorph should look.
Yeah, no, it was spot on. It was great.
But the fact that it comes out of that makes it so much less believable.
Oh, yeah.
And then the way, I'm not going to give it away, but the way that they establish how the xenomorphs came to be really kind of ruins the whole concept for me of the alien or the alien colonies being threatening.
Right, and not to mention that also they're talking about you have to throw out both AVP movies. You cannot have...
Yeah, these do not tie into the AVP movies in one way, shape, or form.
The timeline's totally screwed, and you just can't have it. But the thing that you got to really address, and the thing that really irks me about the movie, is the fact that when you talk about the intricacies of the xenomorph that they had in the other movies, this just kind of goes, it's there.
Yeah. This is just what happened.
Yeah. And so if you're expecting an Aliens movie and you love the Aliens movies and you're really into them, you're going to be so disappointed.
Very disappointed. If you have just seen Prometheus, and I will say you will at least have to have seen Prometheus to understand the deeper points of what's going on. If you have just seen Prometheus, this is a continuation of that. And if you liked Prometheus, then
you probably like this movie.
You might like this. But if you've seen any of the other Aliens movies after seeing Prometheus, this is going to be confusing, and it's going to be it's probably going to weaken the story overall for you.
Yeah, but I think you said it best. If you've got nothing else to go watch it. It's fine.
If you've got nothing else and you absolutely have to go see a movie, this is worth that.
Matinee. But
you got some free tickets.
Yeah, and especially if you want to fill in some of the gaps just to know the story. But I mean, from my personal, from my cinematic standpoint, I felt sick. It was horrible after the movie. I walked out seething in anger, and if I would have done this recording right afterwards, it would have just been expletive.
Yeah.
It was an utter pile of trash coming from a person who loves movies, who's seen a bunch of movies, and who loves the Alien series.
And I love the Alien series. I love the obscurity of it, the practical effects of it. I think it set up a character that has been resonating since as one of the most horrific characters that has ever been made.
Scary. Xenomorphs are just creepy as all hell.
And the body horror of being violated like that for them to complete their life cycle, and you basically, like any of their captives become part of their pupation period or something like that. I mean, it's just the biology of it is really terrifying, and this I don't think is really a strong addition to that.
Yeah.
So, otherwise, yep, that was quick and dirty reviews for Alien Covenant. We hope to see you guys next week.
Don't forget to comment, and we currently are running if you can get to 1,500 comments on a single video, I'll be forced to go see My Little Pony.
Which means I'll be forced to go see My Little Pony. So,
thank you very much.
Like and subscribe, but don't comment.
No, comment. Please comment.
Laters.
And I kind of give it a pass. So I've got to definitely push myself out of that if we're going to review it a little bit, because I enjoyed it. I thoroughly thought it was a fun time.
Yeah.
Coming from a cinematography thing, I know one of the things you absolutely hate is that...
Yeah, they did that a lot.
The shaky cam, so it was just like